So this render comprises in two parts. One is the helicopter and another is the landscape on the background. So in this case I first prepared the rendering of the helicopter, which I import a model in FBX format into Blender, and first I adjust the lighting. For this I add a skylight texture, then I connected all the textures from the model to the materials, and for the main body in this case I had to adjust the coat, the metallic and roughness weights. I decreased the roughness and left without coat some of the smaller metallic parts, and finally I used the glass BSDF for the windows. Another cool thing that I did was to add the motion blur to the blades. For this I used 16 frames to animate the rotation of the blades. It was important to use the quaternion, otherwise you get some weird rotations. Then I adjusted the frame rate to 120 FPS. It should give you blades moving between 400 and 500 RPM, which is what a helicopter should do. Yeah, finally I enable motion blur on the cycles renderer. On the preview you cannot see the motion blur, but after you click render you can finally see it. For the environment, started creating a large scale mountain terrain by applying the subdivision and displacement modifier to a plane. And then for the shading I use one of the maps to differentiate between the rocky and easy parts of the mountain in order to have different shader materials. And the rocky part, for example, has higher roughness, and the icy part is set up with subsurface scattering, which is a real phenomenon that is happening on snow. Then I found a good position to set up the camera. I added the air boots and created a composition. However, when I tried my first render, the right close to the camera lacks detail, so I had to set up a second terrain area with higher resolution and morph it in order to hide the lower resolution terrain. So the scene is already set up, but in order to create a cinematic effect or a cool rendering, I added a depth of field and maintained the focus on the helicopter. This helps to separate the background from the foreground from the object that we want to have the focus on and add a sense of depth. In addition, I used an ultra wide resolution to still give more cinematic effect. Finally, I rendered it into high quality format EXR, which instead of integers for the RGB, it has floats. It will help to post-process later on the image. This can take a while due to high resolution and the subsurface scattering. Then finally I imported it into DaVinci Resolve in order to apply the last post-processing effects. I did some color grading, I applied some lookup tables for the colors, and finally reintroduced film noise with a plugin to mimic a more realistic camera and to add some film effects like bloom, which it looks really cool on this image.